Hello guys and welcome to today's review. Today we're going to be reviewing a product that never been mentioned on my channel before. This is a Zeblaze and the model of the watch is called GTR. So let's unbox it and see what comes inside. First of all, I'd like to mention a bit about the box. I think the print of the box is rather very good. Most of the watches that we reviewed before usually come in a very plain, boring white box. This is a nice printout on the box. So then presentation carries on the inside of the box. You've got a greeting card from Zeblaze. Everything packed nicely inside. So you have a silicone strap, you have the watch itself, you've got a 2-pin magnetic charger, and underneath it all you've got a manual. Manual has lots of different languages including English, Italian, German and Chinese. And at the back of the menu you've got a QR code to download the app that this watch uses. The app is called Band. So let's assemble the watch and begin the review. So this is how Zeblaze looks on the wrist. They currently retail on Banggood for $27 US. The watch size is just right, so it will be suitable for men as well as women. As usual, let's talk about the numbers first of all. So Zeblaze comes with a screen which is 1.3 inches across with the resolution of 240 by 240 pixels. Inside of the watch you'll find the battery, which is 180 milliamp batteries. But the battery should last you for a good 2 to 3 weeks, which is amazing. The watch uses Bluetooth 5.1, meaning that this particular watch keeps on grabbing onto the Bluetooth connection of your phone all the time. So you're not gonna see any Bluetooth dropouts too often. The watch comes with a waterproof rating, which is rated to 3 atmospheres, meaning that with this watch you can actually dive up to 30 meters in depth. As I mentioned before, the watch uses the app, which is called Band, to connect to your phone. The watch comes with pre-installed 5 watch faces. And unfortunately there is no way to expand the watch faces, or at least I couldn't find them in the app. So before we'll talk about the software of the watch, I'd like to take a minute to talk about the actual look of the watch. It's all made out of metal. On the front you've got your hardened glass, so it shouldn't scratch anytime soon really. On the right side you've got 2 physical buttons. One button, which is a top button, wakes up your watch and also turns your watch on and off. And the bottom button allows you to jump into your menu. On the rear of the watch you've got your magnetic dock to charge your watch. It's all made out of plastic at the back. This is where you've got your sensors. The sensors are quite good and we're going to come back to them later on in the review. So let's jump into the watch and see what actually happens with the software. So by scrolling from top to the bottom you get your usual quick settings menu. So you can find your phone if you lost it. You can turn your alarms on and off. You can't set the alarms, but you can turn them on and off. You can manipulate the brightness of the screen. This is the point I'm gonna have to unfortunately mention. What I found is even at the top brightness, which I've got set it at 12 right this minute, the screen is good. It's okay to look at. It's nice and bright. I've got a soft box on at the minute, and as you can see the information still. However, on a dull day, so for instance if you've got a cloudy day, I was really struggling to see any information on the screen, but on a normal sunny day it works just fine, and indoors it works just fine, so not going to be an issue whatsoever, just the cloudy days. You've got your do not disturb option there as well, and we can read some of the information about the watch as well just there. Then if you scroll from bottom to top, that takes you to your messages. And you can only see 3 messages at a time. You can't reply to those messages, you can only delete them. That's about it. By scrolling from left to right you get into like a circular menu, so you can just keep on scrolling and you're going to come back to the main menu eventually. This is where you can track your blood pressure, your heart rate sensor. You've got your weather information, which is very simple but it works great. Never seen any issues with that. So it shows you the weather for today and tomorrow, which is, I think, is brilliant. That's all you need. It shows you information about your sleep tracking, which I find to be pretty good. The only thing is, sometimes it takes a bit of a time for the information to be transferred from the watch to the app and so on. So when you're going to wake up, it's not always going to show it immediately. Sometimes it takes about half an hour to an hour for some reason to update the information, but you'll get it. The step counter is fairly accurate. You probably, like throughout the day, you're probably going to find yourself with a total of plus or minus maybe 50 steps. So it's fairly accurate. I have to admit it's very good. And we're back to the main screen. So if you scroll from right to left, you'll go back to the same menu and you're going to come back to the main screen eventually. Right, so let's just jump into the main menu. So we see sports at the top. We'll click on that. I'm just going to scroll down and you can see what sort of sports you should expect from this watch, what you can do. Usual story really. You can do the outdoor business, like outdoor activities and indoor activities, so it's up to you which one you're going to choose. Then you got your step counter. It's just going to show you the same information that we've seen on the that sort of circular menu. Then you can track your like sleep tracking. You can check your sleep tracking, which I said is pretty accurate. Heart rate reading. It's I must admit, it's fairly good. It's not gonna read the information if the watch is in the air like that, or if you're gonna put it on the table. It has to be on the wrist, and as soon as you put it on the wrist, you'll see the measurement taking place. Just gonna wait a second for it to load. There we go. So it's a fairly good and a fairly accurate sensor. So for those of you who are into your sports, probably this sensor would be good enough for you, for the majority of people, to be honest with you. Then we got the usual story of a blood pressure. We got some notifications. Like I said, you can only see 3 at a time and you can only delete them and read them. You've got your alarms. Same story again. You can only turn on and off your alarms. You can't set them on the watch. It has to be done throughout the app. You've got your stopwatch, so if we click on stopwatch, we'll see if we can. Yes, we can. It's not found very often that you can actually start your stopwatch and actually can exit it. So usually you have to stay on the screen. Same goes for timer. I'm sure you'll be able to do that. Music. So it's not the most simple version of the music player, because you can play and pause, you can skip your tracks, and you can also control the volume, which is quite handy for those of you who do prefer to control music through the watch. You can find your phone if you've lost it. You've got the female health period thing. So for those of you who's going to be using that, that's quite handy as well. You can take a photograph. You can check your weather, and finally right at the bottom you've got settings. So let's jump into the settings. Like I said, brightness is currently set at maximum. You've got your auto lock, so you can change the time when the screen's gonna go dark. So it can be anything between 5 seconds and 30 seconds, which is quite handy, because most of the watches that I've been reviewing in the past do usually come with a preset very short time, which is usually about 9 seconds or 5 seconds. Then you can switch certain things on and off if you don't want to. So for instance, pulse rate monitoring. So that means that the heart rate sensor will be working continuously. You can turn that on and off on the watch itself. You don't have to go into the app. You also got your app download QR code on the watch if you wanted to download it from the watch, not from the manual. You can also set a message settings. I've never seen that before, sort of done on the actual watch. So you can manipulate things like, for instance, receiving phone calls or not, so like notifications. Same goes for your text messages. And then you can scroll through and you can see all of those social medias. And if you want to receive information from those social medias, you can toggle it on. If you don't want to receive any information, obviously you take the toggle off. And if you click down the bottom for the others, that would mean that all the information should come to your watch, regardless of the social media or the app that you're going to use on your phone. And that's about it for the settings. So before we carry on, I'll just give you a closer look of the watch, so you can have a good look at the watch itself. So what we'll do now is we'll jump into the app and we'll talk about the app a little bit, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to summarize today's video and I'll give you my thoughts about this particular product. Okay guys, let's have a look at the H-Band app. So we'll log in. We see that the watch connected to the app immediately. We are on the first page. This is usually where you'll find information such as how many steps you've done, obviously your sleep tracking. The info about sleep tracking sometimes disappears, sometimes come back, so it's a minor thing, and I'm sure it will be fixed sometime with the new update. Then you got your heart rate information. As you can see, there is actually a chart and it shows you when the heart rate measuring was taking place, and you can see sort of roughly where your heart rate was at, which is quite handy. Then on the second page you can start running. So for instance, if you want to just quickly measure your exercise, you just press play and off you go. And on the last page, you've got things like, for instance, if you want to set some goals, so how many steps a day you want to do, or how many hours you'd like to sleep per night, and you can choose your units, so for instance, metric or imperial. That's not a problem. Same goes for the hours. So for instance, if you're not comfortable with 24-hour format, you can change that to 12 and so on. Right at the top, you've got your GTR, so that's our watch, so let's jump into that. First thing that you see would be your message notifications. So in here, you can toggle on and off any social medias or any phone calls or text messages that you possibly want to see or don't want to see. So whether either turn it on or turn it off, it's up to you. Obviously phone calls, it will only show you that the phone call is coming through. You can't actually answer the phone call. That's because there is no microphone or speaker in the watch itself. You can set your alarms. You can set as many alarms as you wish. You can really manipulate them. So for instance, choose when the alarm will be played, and yeah. Then you got your reminder to stand up and do some walking, so sedentary setting. That's usually helpful for those who spend lots of hours working at the desk. So for instance, if you're just forgetting to sort of stand up and do some exercises throughout the day, that could be handy for you. You've got your heart alert. So for instance, if you're doing some exercises, or maybe you've got your issues with your heart, you can set a little alarm. So for instance, if the heart goes above the 115 beats per minute, the watch will alarm you about that. You also got your turn wrist detection. So when you're going to turn your wrist, your screen will come on. So if you want to turn that option on, you can, and you can also set up between what times that's going to work. So for instance, when you're going to go to bed, let's say at 10 o'clock at night, this option will turn itself off automatically, so therefore your screen will not come on in the middle of the night. And then you got your weather settings, very simple. Once again, you can choose your temperature units, so Fahrenheit or Celsius. You can turn your weather on, and the weather will be updated automatically depending on where you take your watch and your phone with you throughout the day. And yeah, that's about it about the app. So let's go back to the review and the conclusion. Okay guys, so now that you've seen the app and I've talked about the positives and negatives of this particular product from Zeblaze GTR, I'd like to summarize today's video in my own words. This is a product that is worth $27 US. Considering that you'll find the links down below this video, you'll find some coupons. So if you follow the links, you'll be able to purchase this watch even cheaper. And I'm sure there will be sales coming up soon, so you can grab yourself a real bargain there. Who this watch would be suitable most for? I'd probably say for those who don't like to fiddle too much with their watch and they just want a fitness tracker, something that's reliable, so for instance a good heart rate sensor and a good pedometer. Probably for those who don't want to set too many options in the app and all those things. So it's a very simple, very straightforward. It's the watch that it's not afraid of any water, it's not afraid of any dust and things like that, so you can just slap it onto your wrist, you can wear it in whatever conditions it is going to be, and they'll be just fine. They will take some readings, they will measure your sleep, they will measure your heart rate and all those things. And yeah, I think it's a fairly good product. It's a first time I've reviewed Zeblaze, I'm sure, and there will be more Zeblaze coming in the near future, but yeah. So all in all, I think it's a good product, and like I said, follow the link, use those coupons, and you'll be able to get yourself a real bargain. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If I have missed any information or you've got any further questions, don't hesitate, comment down below. I'll do my best to answer your questions as soon as I can. And until the next one, I'll see you later.